Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills Planning Commission meeting of September 9th, 2020 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The link will be posted on Village website and Village Facebook page. It's posted right now. If any residents want to get on there, or anybody public-wise, anybody wants to view our meeting, they can. We are following Substitute House Bill 197 provisions that relate to public meetings and hearings during the COVID-19 pandemic. Second order of business, since we called it to order, would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Do a roll call here for the Planning Commission members. Mr. Ray Whedon. Present. Janice St. John.
Here.
Joe D'Amico.
Here.
Todd Toez.
Here.
And the mayor, myself as a member. We also have our zoning inspector, Rob Kalman, our village engineer, Joe Gelati, and our law solicitor, John Montello, and we do have Angela Rive, our tax administrator here. She's here as a role, to help us moderate and if there's any questions through the computer. So she's just kind of helping us out with the meeting tonight. So we took care of 3 roll call. Item number 4, approval of minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes of October 25th, 2018, December 17th, 2018, and April 4th, 2019. There be a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay. Take a vote. Mr. Whedon?
I abstain.
Okay. Janice St. John?
Yes.
Joe D'Amico?
Yes.
Todd Toez?
Abstain.
Okay, myself, the mayor, yes. Okay, minute meetings accepted and passed. Okay, we have 2 members that abstained. Just to kind of let you know, 2 new members, they weren't present for those. They might have been present, but they weren't members of the Planning Commission at the time those meetings took place. So minutes passed 3-2. Okay, any old business? I don't have anything. Anybody else have anything? Okay, no old business. New business. The first item, there is 2 items here on the agenda from HGE. They're both being looked at as individual items. So we'll start with item A, which is 020-02, HGE proposed additional silo. So you should have your plans and we can start. And if you can just introduce yourself and who you're with.
Good evening, my name is Mark Henning. I'm the owner representative and architect for HGE Concrete. Mr. Jeremy Ennis, founder of HGE Concrete, is here present as well. Since the time we had submitted the drawings previously, I know we're going to look at both items. I'd like to submit for the record here some modifications that were done to the initial layout. So if you don't mind, I don't know who I want to give these to pass out or just to them out to people.
Angela will get them from you.
Okay.
Mark and
That way I'm not interfering in social distancing issues.
you know, and if you need, since we're all social, if you need to bring your your mask down a little bit to talk, as long as you're got a good distance there, it helps sometimes.
You try coaching with one of these on it. It's not very good.
I believe that.
So we're mandated, we have to wear throughout coaching. And you know, you're running around with the kids. 10 minutes later, you're like dying.
Especially when you're not 20, right?
Yeah. So, Mayor, do you want to talk about each one individually, or do we just want to talk
Yes.
about the project as a whole?
No, we're going to talk about each one individually.
Okay.
Because that's how Planning Commission is looking at them,
No problem.
and we'll go from there.
So on the first sheet, AS1, you can see, and I don't think this did change from the very first submission, we're proposing to add a 45-foot high silo on concrete pad right next to the other existing silos. It's actually located behind the silos, so there's actually no visibility that you would have from anywhere else. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it except, the concrete operations is in need of additional admixtures to add into their process, and an additional silo is needed for their business operations.
So as far as that goes, Mr. Henning, it's the same as the other drawing. As far as the silo, it's the same location and everything.
Correct.
Everything's the same.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. We do have Rob Kalman's review there and comments. Anybody have any questions on that or relating to that? Mr. Kalman or Mr. Henning? The existing towers, make a note, are 67 feet.
Correct.
So, and this proposed silo is 45 feet, so it is actually shorter than the two it sits behind.
Correct.
Our code allows not to exceed 75 feet, is that correct, Rob?
Correct. Correct.
So it is underneath that, our zoning code, 1270.05 C. So it falls within our requirements. Any comments on that proposed silo from Planning Commission, or?
I don't have an objection to it.
Right.
No, we just, somebody needs to make a motion so we can vote on it, correct?
Right, we can do that. Rob, would you like to add anything to add to that?
No, as my review stated, I mean, it falls within our codified ordinance. So, I mean, it's additional, it's not visible from the right of way. It's behind the other towers that are taller. It's kind of a non-issue.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion. Anybody have any questions? Are we good to move on with the motion? Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Well, let me make the motion first. All right.
Make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed additional silo pending administrative review and permitting. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Joe D'Amico. Vote on the approval. Mr. Whedon.
Yes.
Mr. D'Amico.
Yes.
Janice St. John.
Yes.
Todd Toez.
Yes.
And Mayor Don Colograph. Yes. Silo approved, 5-0. Okay. Now we'll move on to item B. 020-03. HGE has proposed a silo enclosure. So let's get to that.
So if you look at the new drawings that we distributed this evening, you'll see that we've removed the enclosure around the silos. And we've minimized the footprint primarily around the existing hoppers and conveyor belt. So again, as far as the enclosure is concerned, as you're probably aware, this is a dry batch system. It is pertinent for them to be able to keep the materials that are being fed into the hoppers that's being added into the admixtures into the concrete truck to keep them free and clear of especially winter conditions that are up and coming. So we are proposing an enclosure, a utility structure only around the hoppers, so that would allow them to continue their operations here throughout the winter months. It is a non-occupiable building. It will be construction classification U, utility. Again, it is not going to be used for anything but really just an enclosure to keep the temperature for around 45, 50 degrees in there so that they can continue their operations throughout the winter. It is intended potentially to change to a wet batch system. So we are proposing to make this enclosure possibly removable. And so we have instructed the structural engineer, there's no welds, everything is going to be bolted together so it can be removed for the new wet batch processing plant, which would come down at a later time. But we don't want to, do anything that's going to increase the cost of this simple enclosure here beyond that. So I know Rob had some comments here as far as, masonry and second building and whatnot. We are deeming this a mechanical appurtenance, nothing more than that. And we would like to have it viewed as such. So you can see we're really matching the existing building as far as the metal siding. It would be the same color, same roof pitch. It does have to go up to 30 feet in order to work with the apparatus and the conveyor that goes back and forth, discharging the material into the various hoppers. And we have quite a wide opening that we have to get a pretty decent sized structural piece of steel across that opening. So again, we're around 30 feet and we'll go down to 23 feet on the other end, matching the 312 pitch.
So what we basically have in front of us compared to the other drawing is totally different.
Well,
What
we're
we-
just not enclosing the silos, we're just enclosing the hoppers and the small conveyor going up into the concrete truck. And you can see that on the site plan, you can see it's a much smaller footprint, and we're definitely not going to have the large height of the 75 feet of the silo enclosure like we initially had intended. Much smaller visual.
Because those are the existing silos that are on there, of course.
Correct, yeah, so on the very first submission, you'll see that those were being enclosed as well, but
Right.
we downsized it.
Which is the caps coming out of the top.
Yeah, so again, there are,
The vents.
again, 3 hoppers that receive the material, and it's, run up the conveyor belt into the concrete truck, so again, this will allow them to continue their operations in the winter months.
So instead of 3,900 square feet, do we know what the square footage of this building is going to be now?
So it's 30 by, I apologize, let me look.
About 2250.
Yeah, about a little over about 2,100.
We have to take some time, of course, to look at it now and examine. I mean, we're just looking at, first time we're looking at
I understand.
these prints here right now. We've been looking at the other ones, so.
Mark, I see you indicated the 30-foot mean height on the south elevation. Do you have the overall height? I can't read
It
it.
is 30 foot.
Oh, the overall?
The overall, the maximum height is 30 foot, actually on that would be the west side. And
West side.
It goes down to the east side on the 23 feet.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's just a shed.
okay.
You need to see a larger drawing of it, or maybe you can just treat it. I wanted to make sure you had something that
Right.
you need to see a little larger.
Just out of curiosity, did your original design accommodate what you were talking about, wet batching in the future? Was that the difference between the two designs?
No, it had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
We're just saving money from enclosing the silos.
Okay.
It wasn't that necessary to do that. It's more of an economic issue.
So the existing silos don't need to be enclosed
That's correct.
to operate,
Correct.
regardless of what time of year.
Correct.
Mr. Henning, so the siding, I mean, we're familiar with three of the members here, and well, all the members have viewed the existing, your existing building. How does the proposed siding here, the facade on this building, I think you mentioned it was gonna match that, or?
That's correct.
Because I know on the first drawing, it didn't have, we had no detail to what was, you know, you had the gutter and downspouts in the roof, but you didn't have really what the siding was on the first set of prints that we had.
Okay.
So,
The intent was always again to match what's existing, just so there's uniformity, on the site between the two structures as far as that's concerned.
okay, so when you say that, I know on the existing one, we do have, because our ordinance requires it, we do have some facade on a couple sides, on two
Right,
sides.
there's no wainscoting proposed for this at all. We deem this a mechanical appurtenance, and does not fall under the same.
Rob, can you comment on that? Because I know we were, we're looking at this as a different type of building than what Mr. Henning is stating now.
Well, I think the decision for the board is the same, and that would be your exterior finishes. I believe the exterior siding, personally, if the exterior siding matches the existing principal structure, that would work out well. As far as the building classification and the overall height, it's not for this board to determine, but we still go back to, it's a building, whether it's utilized to, again, it's not for this board to determine, but it is, if I'm reviewing this right now on the spot, I'm still classifying it as a building per the definition of building. It doesn't necessarily have to house people. Any structure having one or more floors and a roof supported by columns or walls which is completely enclosed and is designed or intended for the shelter or protection of persons, animals, or property. So with that being said, I think the board's faced with the same decision of the appearance, the exterior finish of the building, but I would, again, I would say that it would have to be pending zoning board approval. That's all.
So what's in front of the planning commission is 1270.07 as far as the all exterior walls
Correct.
of the building, either being constructed of brick, split face block, similar masonry, or other type of material as may be approved by the planning commission. Correct?
So again, for purposes of, again, for those that don't know the site, number one, it's not even visible. You're not even gonna see it. Westbrook Road is not even your road. No one can even see it from anywhere. It's not on the main street. To put up split face block or any other type of masonry around the wainscoting is absolutely a waste of money. Number two is it also then precludes the owner from being able to remove the structure when the wet batch plant is put in place. So again, it would be kind of a ridiculous throwaway of money just to build some type of masonry wall and then to tear it down in a short amount of time. So again, it's non-visible from any location, so it just doesn't make any economical sense to do that.
And what you're proposing is this siding on this will match the existing siding
Correct.
on the building that's
Correct. Yes,
there now.
and color.
That's what you're proposing.
That's correct, color and,
Color and-
profile.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question about why it now would need to go to zoning. Didn't it need to go to zoning because they were enclosing the towers and it was going to be higher than we were allowed? What's it need to go to zoning for if they're not if they're not covering the towers?
In my review, 127005B, accessory buildings shall not exceed a height of 18 feet. So we have a building that's 30 feet. I know the applicant, not necessarily, I know Mark referenced it as a mechanical apparatus or appurtenances. When I go back to definition of building, this is a structure held up by columns with a roof enclosing property. So if we go by that, it's a building.
And let me just make something clear here we're gonna stay in our lane, and our lane as the planning commission is to approve or disapprove what's in front of us. And I can make, or somebody can make a motion contingent on planning commission's approval. With that said, then the building department and planning, if there's an issue between the two parties, will figure that out and decide whether or not it goes to zoning. Right now, our job as the planning commission is to approve or disapprove what is in front of us relating to the planning commission. It won't be this body to decide whether or not it needs zoning approval. That will be for the zoning board and for the zoning inspector. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it really comes down to the same thing, Mayor. The board is here to either agree to the exterior finish or disagree to the exterior finish. And my comments were, yeah, if you match the siding, it really would look in place. So for this board, that's the only portion of this that this board has decided.
Rob, when is zoning?
We have a meeting coming up here, don't we, Mayor?
Yeah, they haven't posted yet, but I think they do have,
I think it's in 2
I don't
weeks.
know the exact date,
I think it's in about 2 weeks.
Mr. Henning, but I think I know they do have an application. Whether they got everything in for that person from that person to review. But they did ask me how would they do it, and I said, we're still Zooming them, or still, that was the question from the chairman.
Understand.
Mayor, how are we doing it, so. Okay, well, I want to stay in our lane here, and what's in front of us, because we certainly can't vote on zoning. We're not the zoning board. We don't have the right to do that. We can't do that. We do have the item in here, as Mr. Kalman stated, and what we've been looking at. Mr. Gelati, do you have anything to add to any?
No comments
Joe?
on this.
Okay. Do members need more time or anything to look at anything? I know, I mean, just because we got the new plans, I'm good with, I think it's
I'm
what's in.
satisfied that as long as it's gonna match the other building, it's not gonna look out of place.
Right, right.
Right.
Basically,
I think the new plans actually make it easier for us to vote on it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the height of it and the facade with the height was,
75 feet.
and the height wasn't our concern. It was, tonight would have been the same thing. What we were going to look at tonight was the facade, because if there's a height issue, that has to go to zoning. No different.
And again, just so everyone knows, as I'm sure, again, when you're dealing with a piece of mechanical equipment, it is what it is. I mean, the height has to be what it is. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. So
Right.
in that respect, we'll deal with that in zoning.
And so I can, how does do we need to talk, everybody feel pretty good if the new building, which we see is a lot smaller and lower, matches the existing facade? It's the same type of material?
Correct.
Okay. How would I would like to put that in the, kind of like to have that in the motion. I have no problem making the motion. How should I word it? John, match the existing
Metal facade.
metal, the same type of metal facade on, what would that be, Rob, the existing building?
Existing structure,
The existing structure?
yes.
Is it a color or any, I mean, it's to,
Yeah.
Gray green.
Yeah, the roof is sandstone and the building facade is hunter green. Again, we're gonna
Okay.
match those, so it looks the same.
okay. Well, I'll make a motion to that. And, well, it's still contingent upon a zoning approval for what, Rob? Height?
The 30-foot height, yeah.
The
Height,
third-
correct.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed, well, it's not we were calling it a silo enclosure. What are we calling it
A
now?
hopper enclosure.
A hopper enclosure?
Correct.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed hopper enclosure as shown on the plans given tonight, 9/9/2020, to match the exterior, to match the existing exterior of the primary building in front. That was approved, contingent upon zoning board height variance approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Let's vote on the motion. Mr. D'Amico?
Yes?
Janice St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Toez?
Yes.
Mr. Whedon?
Yes.
The mayor? Myself? Yes. And 020-03 passes 6-0.
Rob,
5-0.
will you send
I'm
a
sorry.
notice out on the
5-0.
zoning meeting so that we're familiar with the exact time? Will you send that out to Jeremy?
Yeah, I'll talk to the chair tomorrow.
Okay.
And
Now,
I'll-
let me just ask, and I'm just gonna ask the question if it's all possible. I know it's a formality, again, to go before the zoning board, but again, with the height issue, again, in the hopper size being what they are and the conveyor being what it is there a way that we do not have to maybe go before, waiting for 2 weeks so that we can proceed forward? Because again, this is probably a 2 to 3 month process of finishing the drawings, getting fabrication, shop drawings, and erection, and, winter is coming.
I guess the way I look at it at this point in time, Mark, let me reach out to you tomorrow. I certainly want to not work outside of my capacity.
I understand.
And I do want to enforce our zoning code.
Of course.
So, let me, one, talk to the board
Okay.
chair, and two, I will reach out to you tomorrow.
Thank you,
And
Rob,
we'll
appreciate
figure
it.
it out.
Thank you, everybody.
If we have to have a
Thank you.
zoning meeting, do I need to submit an application?
Yes, you'll have to, and again, I believe we have a meeting coming up here. I don't know the exact date, but I know it's in short order here. So, yeah, so whatever it is, we'll get to the head of it tomorrow.
As you communicate with him, just let us know when it is, so I can make sure we've got an application time.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
You
Take
too,
care.
thank you. Yeah, so the next people would be Neff, Forrestville, for the lot split. No, we got the right-of-way dedication first. Let's do that. We're gonna wait for them. That's right, I missed that. I got so much writing on my agenda here. Okay. So what we have in front of us right now is item C, 020. Did we have any questions from any residents?
No questions, no comments.
Okay, nothing from any residents, just to let everybody know. What we have is item C, 020-04, Village of Walton Hills, a right-of-way dedication. That would be our next item in front of us here. Joe Gelati, our engineer from Chagrin Valley Engineering, did review this, it's village-owned property. It's actually the corner of Alexander and Northfield Road, right next to Smith and Obie. And Joe, you just kind of want to maybe talk to it a
Yeah,
little
sure, I
bit,
can speak
what's in
to it
front
for
of
a
us?
minute, Mayor. Planning Commission members, I assume you've seen the plat and also seen my brief memo on this item. This is an item that dates back several months, the administration's desire to dedicate the corner of that piece of property and dedicate it as right-of-way. The purpose being so that in the future, if the village were to sell the main parcel, the corner that's split off and dedicated as right-of-way would remain as part of the right-of-way, remain within the village's control. Village in the future could use it for any use they need, potentially a gateway-type sign or any other work that the village might need to do at that intersection. And I think it's the right thing to do as well, because that corner would really be land that a future owner would not be able to use. It's within the building setbacks, really can't be used for a driveway or any other typical development that you would see on a site like that. So I would recommend that the Planning Commission vote to approve and accept the right-of-way dedication plat.
Just to kind of give the Planning Commission an idea, council's thinking and my position as mayor was if we were to sell that property for business to expand or a new business to locate, as Joe stated in what he was saying, if we wanted to put a gateway sign there or whatever, we would have access to that and would have a right to do that. So that really was kind of the thinking there, have a little bit of control of that corner, whether it was a beautification or some type of entry sign. It's an important corner. It's one of the corners of our gateway there, so. Any questions on that item?
So is it a similar size to across the street? I mean, I know that one has legs on it, but would it, if you were to, the triangle portion of it?
Yeah, the triangle, the corner is similar size. You're right, this one doesn't have the wings. We didn't take it that far, but the corner part is very similar in size to across the street.
Well, I would make a motion to accept the right-of-way dedication as shown here by Chagrin Valley and Joe.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Toaz. Vote on the motion. Mr. Whedon?
Yes.
Mr. D'Amico?
Yes.
Janice St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Toaz?
Yes.
Myself, the mayor, yes. 020-04, Village of Walton Hills right-of-way dedication plot approved, 5-0. Okay. Is everybody good? Does anybody want to take a break or anything? Is everybody good for the next?
Good.
What's that?
We're good.
We're good?
I'm
Okay.
winded.
All right. We better take the mask off.
Oh, that must be a problem.
Okay. Thanks, Angela. Joe, did you receive anything? Are we in the same place we were with this, or are we in a little different?
No, I think we're really in the same place, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, if the question is the memo of 9-4 still current? The answer is yes.
Okay. Yeah, one of you can come to the mic. If you have anybody else, we just only want 2 in at a time, but if you wanted someone else, one of you would have to walk out. So whoever wants to present, and we just need to Hear your name and tell him, give us a spiel.
I'm Brett Neff with R.E. Warner and Associates on behalf of Mr. Tom Forstell, representing him for the property on Dunham Road that we're looking to complete this lot split for. You should all have the original information that was submitted, and then we did resubmit a drawing again, I believe, late last week, Wednesday or Thursday, incorporating the items from Joe's letter that we got from you all, with one exception. And that exception is, I'm sure you're aware, is item 7. We did address items 1, 2, 3, but not item 7, which was the retention pond. And I guess by way of explanation, the reason, is this microphone on? I don't even need to speak into it.
There's 2 there, so you're okay.
Okay. Okay. We did not address the retention pond item 7 simply because we did not believe at that time that we were going to be disturbing more than 1 acre. I have since had a conversation with Joe, and we have talked and understand that, at this point, we are probably going to go back as the engineering firm and make a drawing showing the disturbed area based on the 3 homes, the utilities, the sanitary easement, and the driveways to determine what the actual disturbed acreage would be. And in fact, if it's under 1 acre, by code, we don't have to deal with the retention pond. That at this point is our plan. Certainly looking to hear from you guys what the council is looking for, if there's something beyond that. Everything else in the comments letter from you all we have addressed, at least I believe that we have. So with that, I will address or answer any questions that I can, if there are any.
Well, with that said, Joe, do you want to talk to items 5, 6, and 7?
Yeah, I can
Is
speak
that
on that briefly, thanks,
What
Mayor.
you did have in your
Yeah,
memo, 7 is the retention pond.
Exactly, yeah. In summary, again, I assume the planning commission members,
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. Does everybody have because I know we didn't get a full 7 prints either. We only got, it does call for 7. Remember, what did we get? 3?
We requested 7. I believe we got 3 maybe?
Okay.
So no, I don't have a plan in front of me.
And I don't think all the members, you might have got a small, did you get a small plot? Maybe you did you get, okay, so you did have something like that, okay.
Oh, good.
Which I thought, yeah. Okay, you just didn't have the big set. Lisa did get this, we made copies, or Joe, you got an electronic set. Okay.
yeah, Mayor, as I was saying, I believe planning commission members have at least a copy of my memo. Items 5 and 6 deal with sanitary sewer and also deal with any potential wetland disturbance that might take place on the site. Those are items that can be handled administratively, reviewed by Rob and myself. Item 7, as the applicant stated, in summary, the code requires stormwater management. And when I say stormwater management, basically I mean a detention pond or similar feature. Stormwater management is required if the owner is to disturb an area of 1 acre or greater in the development of the property. Looking at the drawing, it would seem likely that that area would be greater than 1 acre, although we can't say for sure. It's not shown on the drawing. The applicant indicated that he's going to prepare a drawing or do the calculations to determine whether or not that area of disturbed area would be greater than 1 acre. And if that's the case, my thought to the planning commission would be that if the commission approves this plan here tonight, that also could be reviewed administratively. The applicant would have to make a submittal. We would review it to make sure that the drainage area is acceptable and whether or not the stormwater management pond would be required.
What, Joe, I mean, one thing we do know is, and I know we've been requiring, like most communities, to have a retention pond or whatever, because stormwater as we develop, and especially in our community, with all
It's a
the
concern.
bills and stuff, it's a big concern. What will, so you would make, as the engineer would make that determination?
They would need to submit a drawing and the calculations to make that determination. We would review it for accuracy and conformance with our code.
So as far as disturbance, if, that would involve, any area around the house?
Driveway, house,
Basements,
grading,
piling dirt up?
sanitary sewer, yes, all of the above. Mhm.
And this would be a permanent basin, if it was required?
Correct, correct.
So you're gonna take the plans as they stand and do the calcs? So essentially, you're gonna do calcs on 3 homes to see if you're actually disturbing 1 acre or not?
That's correct. 3 homes, driveways, the accessible driveways to the properties, and utilities necessary to service those homes would be considered disturbed area. I mean, I'm an engineer by trade, obviously. I've done some preliminary calcs in my head after I talked to Joe today. A modest 2,500 square foot ranch style home, we're gonna excavate 20 feet on either side of the foundation. If we have to stockpile dirt, we have to take that into account, but let's assume that's 5,000 square feet. 3 homes is 15,000 square feet. Driveways are 10 feet wide, 200-foot setback, you get 2,000 square foot per driveway. 3 driveways is 6,000 square feet. I'm having difficulty getting to 43,560 square feet of disturbed area after I take a hard look at these numbers. I'm not saying that, and I haven't sat down with the drawing in front of me and created an outline, a dashed area around each of the properties, and we will do that, and we will come up with the actual disturbed area. But it's, in my mind, it's not cut and dry that, yes, it's gonna be way more than 43,560 square feet. So at this point, I can't say, that we're gonna have the need for a detention pond. I'm not seeing it yet. But we will go through the process as engineers to determine that, submit it, and certainly Joe has the final, you all have the final say. But we will do that knowing what we know. And at this point, Tom knows what he's gonna be building on one of the 3 lots. The plan at this point is for either myself to build specs on the other 2, or we're gonna sell the lots. Obviously, we would have to have some type of written understanding, and again, Joe and I talked about this, to pass on to the potential buyers of those lots, if it's not me building on them, that we've already got a specific requirement to build on this, and they can't do anything bigger because of this exact reason. Otherwise, we'd have to come back before Planning Commission and potentially build a detention pond. We're well aware of what, we need to do to make that work, and plan to follow
Where
that.
would that detention pond go if it was required? Is that been determined, or?
No, that would be up to them to propose to us. The likely position would be in the rear of the property, but that's really up for them to propose to the village.
Yes, it would more than likely be on the parcel that Mr. Forstell is gonna own and live in himself. On the rear of that, where the lowest part of the land where it's able to outlet in a controlled manner into one of the creeks.
Yes, there is. I guess really what's before the planning commission is 2 things. One would be the general plan approval, contingent upon items 5 and 6, and now item 7 to be reviewed administratively. The other thing that is out there is technically by code, the plan that's before us here today does need a variance from the riparian setback. If you're not familiar with the riparian setback, it is part of our code, basically in place to protect streams and creeks and that kind of thing. How close you can build to those creeks and what you can place in and around those creeks. Obviously, the applicant needs 3 driveways, whether it's asphalt or concrete. They need 3 hard surfaces to get across the creek and to the 3 new homes. Judging by the drawing before us here, I think the applicant has done everything he reasonably can to minimize any impacts to the creek, minimum amount of pavement near the creek. Obviously, he has the right to cross the creek to get to his new homes. We can't deny him that. So with the drawing before us, I would recommend the Planning Commission, as part of their motion, grant a variance to the riparian setback for the installation of the driveways.
Joe, if I may,
Yes.
I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, the variance to that riparian setback is really only necessary. Parcel number 1 will be outside of 25 feet and will not impact at all. Driveways 2 and 3 for the parcels will be coming over an existing culvert that are there. The riparian setback is, you would continue an imaginary line through that culvert, so that's why you're saying we
You
need the
do,
variance?
yes.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
we really would only need a variance for parcels 2 and 3. There is
Yeah,
no,
it may only be 2
Yes,
and 3.
okay.
Yes, yeah, whether one is within or outside of that 25-foot
Yes.
riparian setback, I'm not sure, but clearly on the plan, it's been shown as far away from the creek as possible
It has,
while
yes.
still being on your property.
it has, yes.
So-
I just wanted to clarify that
Yes.
there really is not, you don't need to vote on a riparian setback variance for parcel number 1. We've kept that driveway on the property's land well over 25 feet away from the creek. Parcels 2 and 3 will be going over the culvert that's existing today.
I think so, yeah.
With that said, we wouldn't be voting on them individually anyways, isn't that correct? Wouldn't we, isn't this viewed as, Joe, isn't this viewed as one, or will we be voting on each individual plot here, lot, for the riparian setback?
Oh, for the riparian setback, I would do it as one.
Right.
One variance for the entire plan that's before us. That's the way
I
would do it.
apologize if I've confused anyone. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. There really is no, if we were only doing parcel 1, there is no, we're outside the riparian
May not
setback.
be, yeah.
The
You're good with
driveways,
the other ones, right?
yeah, 2 and 3, we are crossing the existing culvert, and with that imaginary line continuing with the creek, yes, there needs to be a variance for the riparian setback to gain access to parcels 2 and 3's homes.
Okay.
But if we did grant a variance, it would apply to all 3 lots.
I would think that the variance would apply to constructing the driveways in the future in the manner in which they're shown on the plat. Yeah, so it would apply to all 3, and whether or not it's actually even needed for
Even-
parcel 1, it probably
It's
isn't.
not needed,
We-
it's not
we have-
needed.
Not needed, it's not needed, yeah.
If it is needed, it would be part of this.
Mhm.
By way of explanation, he, the homeowner, would have to, or the eventual homeowner of parcel 1, would have to go through the Army Corps, and we have no intention of going through the Army Corps for that driveway. That's why we've already placed it outside the riparian setback. So, yes, you are correct, but we have no intentions of doing that. Because I've been through the Army Corps process, and it's
It's not worth it.
it's too timely, yeah, or too time consuming.
Any other questions?
If I may,
Yes.
just so I understand what
Mhm.
is before us, you're suggesting that the planning commission approve this, and we would simply, from an administrative standpoint, resubmit? Would we have to sit in front of the planning commission again to get that approval, or is that something administratively you guys would do, and we would be able to then proceed?
My recommendation to the planning commission would be to approve as per the plan, contingent upon numbers 5, 6, and 7 being reviewed administratively. And so long as yourselves don't make any significant changes to the plan that's there on the table, then you don't need to come back before the planning commission. If there is a significant change to property lines, number of houses, crossing the creek, et cetera, then it likely would have to come back before planning commission.
Understood. Okay.
So with that said, Joe, if I were to make a motion, it'd be similar to what you have here in item 9. It looks like you almost read that verbatim there, but just adding 7, is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor. Yeah, I think if you add 7 to comment number 9 there, that would be the correct motion to make.
Do I need to note this drawing in any way? It's the drawing, and it doesn't matter, it's the drawing before us.
Yes, the drawing before us.
Okay. Any questions from the planning commission? How does everybody feel about it? we're all kind of used to seeing that, all that green space there. But it'd be nice to see some nice houses there too, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I bought the property.
Right,
So
right.
I,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I know it, I honestly, I was surprised when I saw the word subdivision and the response. No, I mean, our dogs love it. So, absolutely still want a ton of green. And if you look at the parcel split, there's still a lot of green around the whole property.
Right. Yeah, there's still big lots.
Yeah.
What is it, subdivision, isn't it just because of, what is it, more than one house basically makes it, or is it more than two?
They're subdividing the land for the purpose of building multiple homes.
Yeah, I think that's where.
That's basically, by definition, makes it
Yeah.
a subdivision.
Things have changed
Yeah.
drastically over the last 20 years. I was involved at a very small level with the development of the new homes on the other side of the street before you go down the hill on Dunham. And back then, it was, when we had frontage on Dunham, we built the homes, and that was it. Subdivision was never, they were lots that had frontage on Dunham Road. They were more than whatever the restrictions were.
100 feet.
100 feet, and the acreage was over the 1 acre. And that's, like Tom, I guess until you read the codified ordinances of the Village of Walton Hills, because of the acreage and subdividing 2 existing parcels, it's now considered a subdivision.
Yeah, usually when you hear the word subdivision, people think of a new
Street going in.
with
and
brand new
that's
homes
not
on
our-
both sides, and that is usually a subdivision, but by definition, this also is.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just like to comment, it seems like a fine idea to me, and it seems like that there would be plenty of safeguards from now going forward if we approve contingent on the whatever was mentioned here as far as the future approval.
So did you want to, yeah, any?
No comments, no questions.
No comments? Thanks, John, keeping us on track there. Residents can, or anybody can, text in. That's why Angela's here tonight.
Okay.
We've been YouTubing our meetings, and you can text in and write ask any
How
questions.
many viewers do we have?
Right now, 8, we were up to 11 earlier, so.
They saw you get on the dock and they all left.
Yeah.
Did anybody want to make that? It's right in there. I can make the motion, or if anybody else wants to make it. It's in Joe's letter there. His comments, number 9. If you just, what I did, I just kind of took my pen. If you started with, or I can just do it. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to grant riparian setback approval and preliminary development plan approval with the contingency that item numbers 5, 6, and 7 be addressed during final administrative plan review and permitting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Vote on the motion. Mr. Weed.
Yes.
Mr. D'Amico.
Yes.
Janice St. John.
Yes.
And Mr. Toles.
Yeah.
And Mayor as a member, yes. So 5 yeses. Okay. Motion accepted and approved.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get back to you. Appreciate your time.
We'll see if it gets as much attention as our pond on the corner of Alexander and
That's not possible.
and Dunham. Right? That's a pond. Yeah.
That's it? They
Yes.
put a pond in?
Yep.
For fishing or?
Just,
Drive by it.
yeah, just aesthetics and fishing and pleasure, and
Well, I didn't
it's going to
want
be beautiful. A lot of wildflowers. Should be a nice thing for the corner there.
All right, thank you again.
Thank you. No, I think we should have one more item. That was 020-05. That was approved. Item E is there anybody here from the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District? Yeah, let's see if, John, you didn't see anybody? Joe, were we expecting anybody?
I believe we sent them a packet, so
Right.
they're certainly entitled to
I didn't know
show
if
if
you
they
talked to
usually
anybody,
would.
that's why I
I
asked.
have not spoken to anybody.
Right.
Not recently.
And no one contacted the office, which a lot of times they don't, they get the packet and show up. But with that said, if they're not here, we can still move
Yeah, we
forward
can.
with it. It's pretty straightforward.
I agree, we should.
No longer you're on top
Mayor,
of
Janice is your honor.
Chairman. He's chairman
And
tonight.
you guys are the magistrates. I could imagine Marion ever call me, Your Honor, that would be the day. I'd probably get thrown out if I went home and asked her to call me that. And there'd probably be nothing on my back, too. Don't say nothing, Joe.
We're on YouTube, so be careful what you say.
Okay, item E, 020-06, Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. It's a variance for riparian setback. I have it right in front of me here. For 17646/17674 Rawlin Drive. We do have a letter from our engineer here. I know it's been reviewed by Joe Gelati, from Chagrin Valley Engineering, our engineer, and also Rob Kalman, our zoning inspector. Joe, do you want to talk?
Yeah, I can speak on this one as well for a couple of minutes, especially in the absence of the actual applicant themselves, NERSD. Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, what they intend to do here simply is a stream bank stabilization on the property here listed on Rawlin Drive. Some of you may or may not be familiar with this location. In short, the banks of the stream have begun to erode, slip into the creek. So the sewer district has identified this as a location in which they want to stabilize the stream bank with boulders, vegetation, trees, grass, all that type of stuff to prevent any further erosion, prevent any further sediment from being sent down the creek. Sewer district is paying for the entire project themselves. This is no cost to the village of Walton Hills. We're not entertaining any question like that. Again, by code, they will be working within the riparian setback, so they do need a variance. Sewer district has indicated that, they want to follow all of our procedures, so that's a good thing. So in short, since they're repairing the stream for us and for our residents, it's no cost to us. I would recommend the Planning Commission approve the variance to the riparian setback part of the code so that the sewer district can move forward with their project.
And Joe, this isn't part of the village cost share or anything? This is
Not
just
part of the
something-
village cost share or no village cost in any way.
Is the sewer district performing this work themselves, running the whole project, or will the village administer the project?
The sewer district will administer the project. They won't self-perform, but they'll hire a contractor, yes, and they'll have their own inspection
Right.
and contractor on site. Mhm.
Doesn't seem to be a downside.
No, no downside.
I have one question. Joe, do you have any idea if this project helps with the flooding that occurs down there in Walton and some of our...
Yeah, this probably is not really a flood control project. It's a erosion and stream bank stabilization project, so it probably is not any flood relief or improvement, just stream bank erosion, that type of thing.
When I read this, I could not see any downside at all.
Mhm.
And you answered that question pretty conclusively, so it sounds like a great idea.
Mhm.
Any further questions? The board, planning commission have any questions for Joe or Rob or the sewer district?
You have to wait on an answer from the sewer.
Yeah, we would.
I'm satisfied.
How are the other board members? Any comments or any?
No comments or questions.
From residents or? Can I get a motion or?
I can try. I make a motion that we recommending the planning commission grant the variance needed to approve the plan as submitted and allow the regional sewer district to proceed with the project.
And mention riparian setback, I think we'd be good.
Yes, approve the riparian, is it a variance to the riparian?
Grant the
Yeah.
variance.
It would be,
Grant a
yes.
variance to the riparian setback.
Is
Second.
there?
Second.
Second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Vote on the motion, Mr. D'Amico,
Yes,
Janice St. John,
Yes,
Mr. Toaz,
Yes.
myself as mayor, yes, and Mr. Weed.
Yes.
Okay. Planning commission passes 5-0. Any other questions for the planning commission? Any, before I ask for a motion for adjournment, anybody have anything to add or whatever? I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mayor Colgraf, I'd like to offer a motion that we adjourn this planning commission meeting
At 8:02.
at 8:02 PM.
We got it. Is there a second? Second by, who got that one? All right, second by Mr. Toaz. Vote on the motion. Mr. Weed,
Yes.
Mr. D'Amico,
yes.
Janice St. John,
yes.
and Mr. Toaz.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:02. Thank you, everybody. Yep, thank you. John, you were quiet.